I sometimes struggle with fleeting thoughts and rumination that make me feel uneasy and anxious. I believe I have complete faith in God's provision and protection, but these anxious thoughts still sometimes repeat and ruminate in my mind. Why, with my solid faith, do I sometimes experience fear, doubt, or mental unrest? I've been giving this some serious thought. Could it be a spiritual attack? Are unclean spirits trying to shake my joy and closeness with God, or could this simply be part of the human condition that even the most righteous among us experience? We often hold up biblical heroes as unwavering pillars of strength, but a deeper reading reveals they, too, face distress, fear, and emotional struggle. King David, a man after God's own heart, wrote in Psalm 13:2, "How long must I wrestle with my thoughts and day after day have sorrow in my heart? How long will my enemy triumph over me?" David was a warrior, a king, and a poet, but also a man who ruminated. He turned those thoughts into prayer, expressing sorrow, confusion, and frustration, not as rebellion, but as authentic relationship with God. This teaches us that feeling anxiety or negative thoughts does not separate us from God. It can be a path toward Him when directed through honest prayer, as David did throughout the Psalms. Trust in God does not eliminate the battle in the mind. The Hebrew Bible never promises that believing in Yah makes one immune to mental or emotional struggle. We are not disembodied souls, we are human beings with minds that can be stormy even while our spirits are faithful. Even the prophet Elijah, after witnessing fire rain down from heaven in a miraculous victory, 1 Kings 18, fled into the wilderness in fear and despair in the next chapter, saying, "It is enough, now, O Lord, take away my life." He had just seen one of the greatest miracles in Scripture, and yet still felt overwhelmed and hopeless. God responded with gentleness, not anger. He fed Elijah, gave him rest, and spoke with him not in a whirlwind, but in a still small voice, 1 Kings 19:12. This reinforces a valuable truth: faith does not shield us from struggle, but God walks with us through it. This is a way to keep a person grounded and humble. If things always went right, if we were always spoiled, would we turn to God? That's the story of humanity. Those that develop grit, experienced hardship and adversity in life. They become strong. Caleb and Noah were examples that courage is a choice, not a feeling. We often think courage means not feeling fear, but in the stories of Caleb and Noah, we see that courage means choosing trust in God even when fear or opposition looms. Caleb told the Israelites to rise up and take the promised land, even when others saw giants. Instead of giving in to the fearful report of the other spies, Caleb held firm. Yet imagine the emotional pressure he felt, being one out of two voices, alongside Joshua, going against the majority. He did not pretend there were no dangers, rather, he chose to focus on God's promise. Faith doesn't deny reality, it puts trust in God's greater reality. The whole world mocked Noah for building an ark. It had never rained, and yet he obeyed. Imagine the quiet mental torment of facing decades of ridicule. Yet Noah never wavered. Noah did everything just as God commanded him. Genesis 6:22. Both stories remind us that faith means consistent action even when thoughts or emotions don't make it easy. In the book of Job, God allows Satan, the adversary, to bring suffering upon a blameless man. Not because Job sinned, but because God knew his inner strength could withstand the challenge. Have you considered my servant Job? There is none like him on earth, a blameless and upright man. Job 1:8. He loses his wealth, family, and health, but he never curses God. However, Job does wrestle mentally and spiritually. Why did I not perish at birth? Job 3:11. He questions meaning, justice, and even his own worth. Still, he remains in dialogue with God, which is an act of covenant faith. In the end, God affirms that Job's honest questioning was better than the simplistic religious explanations of his friends. Job 42:7. Lesson: ruminating or wrestling with painful thoughts doesn't mean failure. It can be part of honoring the difficult honesty of suffering. When doubts come, are these demonic, mental, or human? The Hebrew Bible is not overly preoccupied with labeling every internal conflict as demonic. While unclean spirits are acknowledged in places like Leviticus and Samuel, most inner mental struggles are treated as part of the human heart, something to be shaped, directed, and purified. The heart is deceitful above all things, and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Jeremiah 17:9. This means not every dark thought is a demon, nor is every fear a curse. It may be a test, like Job, a call to prayer, like David, a moment to choose courage, like Caleb, or exhaustion needing renewal, like Elijah. Trust in God while wrestling with thoughts. If you are as fascinated in the Bible as we are, comment, like, and subscribe to be a part of future discussions.